Hi and welcome to my office. Today we're looking at micro photography because there's not a lot happening in my reserve at the minute as far as birds and animals go. So I've turned my attention to photographing and filming flowers that are in the reserve. A lot of the herbs are flowering at the minute, so I thought good opportunity here. Get some images for my documentary that I'm making on this whole reserve, on the agile antechinus, on birds and animals, the flora in the reserve. So I thought grab some of these from my library, and they may or may not make it in, but we'll give it a go. Now I'm using the XF400 to film the flowers at the minute, and I'm going to use a close-up lens, the 250D screw-on close-up lens as well, to help out with blurring the background, but also helps the crop in as well. But let's just talk about what I was looking for when I first turned up. So I've turned up on the side of the creek here to where all the flowers are at the minute with the native herbs that we have in Australia. And we have native mint. The flowers are very much like lavender flowers, except they're a little bit more washed out in colour. But otherwise, they're very similar. I'm looking for flowers that look really nice, but are also consistently getting insects coming to them. So the pollen's really strong. Getting insects on them is going to help my image out a fair bit. So a bee or something like that. So I picked this bunch here, getting a lot of bees on, which I'm getting right now. And I was looking for a flower that would best represent the plant itself. So a nice shape, so a nice composition as well. I don't want any imperfections on it, so like leaves that are half chewed or have brown spots on them from mould or whatever. No chunks out of the flowers or whatever. A perfect shape, really nice looking. Or even one with a little bit of character to it as well. But I end up choosing this one. It's a nice position for me to film. I can sit on the side of the bank here with the mozzies and the leeches. So the first thing I'm thinking of once I've chosen my subject is a background. The background is going to be 70 to 80% of the image. Can't be distracting. Can't have anything that's reflective to light that's going to draw your eye to it. We want our viewer to look at that flower and nothing else. Wander off later on if you like, but we're looking at the flower. So over the creek there I have all these bracken. So it's going to be a nice even green. There's some slight tone changes there, but overall it shouldn't be distracting. And it's one of the reasons why I want to use the screw-on 250D filter as well, lens I should say. That's going to help to blur that background out even more so. So here's two images that demonstrate the difference between having your lens off and one with it on. So there is quite a difference between the two. Now, I'm not changing the distance the camera is away from the flower. I've simply just screwed on that lens. Photographing as well on my 7D Mark II works really well. But on the XF400, it is beautiful. I've been right up close to little flowers, and here's one that's only 5mm across. It's taken up a fair bit of the screen. So if you've got an XF400, 250D close-up lens is a good option for micro photography, because this camera doesn't do micro photography, it doesn't have a mode for it. Anyway, let's move on to lighting. Very important, isn't it? If my subject's in the shade and the background has full sunlight on it, it's going to be a huge distraction in the background, so it's not going to work. And if we swap that around and my subject's nice and bright and my background's dark, then we're introducing noise, or possibly introducing noise into the image. So we need even light. So we need two types of light really. We want either full sunlight. If you're not going to be cloudy or anything like that, and diffuse the light for me, let's have both of them bathed in full sunlight. That way we can control the aperture and everything like that, get it all nice and balanced out nicely. If we're not in full sunlight, then we're after a day like I've got today. It's diffused because the clouds are up really high. That allows the sun to break through a lot better too. They're a bit thicker than I'd like, clouds are a little bit darker than I'd really prefer, but I'm getting really good lighting conditions still. And the sun's setting just over here behind me. It rises over there. So if I do this in the morning, it's not going to work for me as well because the background's going to be dark because of all these trees and bushes here, where this is just completely open for quite some hours, streaming onto my subject and onto the background. Even though I have a beautiful subject, I'd like an insect to land on there and add a bit more to my image. What that'll do is lift it to another level, because it's going to tell a story then, the full story about this flower. It's opened its pebbles and it has pollen on it for a reason. It wants to attract insects to it. So having a bee or even an ant or there's little insects that have been flying around that have been landing on it, and I did get a bit of footage earlier of that. So that's added a story to my image. So for my documentary, that's something that I need to consider when I'm adding any images of flowers. Pick the ones that have got something that adds a bit more. Nice little insect coming on, telling a deeper story than what I already am doing. Well, now that I'm all set up and ready to go, it's time to sit back, relax, listen to the birds, watch my subject, wait for an insect to come onto it. Fingers crossed that it does. And see what happens. If I don't get anything today, I'll just keep coming back until I do. Looking around for, might have to go to another flower. But otherwise, I'm just chilling out. In a forest environment, there are reflective surfaces everywhere. We have to keep that in mind when we're photographing and filming. The gum trees during the summer months drop their leaves. They are extremely reflective. My subject at the minute, flowers. The pebbles, the stalks, anything else that's coming out of them are usually reflective as well. This isn't too bad with that nice little purple head there, but the stalk and the little horns that are coming out of it and its tongue are extremely reflective. If you have a camera that has high dynamic range mode, use it. XF400 has excellent high dynamic range mode, works beautifully, loving it for that. It helps out massively. Have ND filters built in if I need them, if on a full sunny day it's just too harsh. That'll be good. This morning I have a beautiful diffused day. Again, it's very high cloud. So we have to be careful with that. Even the twigs are all reflective. Very distracting for the background. Don't have a lot of options here at all for background. There's only a few of these around at the minute, and they're all in bad positions as far as trying to get away from this nice little forest floor that's so reflective. And if I move the camera up a bit, I'm introducing the sky, which makes it even worse. So it's just something, we're always looking at these things, so many things to consider when you're photographing, filming, flowers, wildlife, whatever. Well, that's all I've got for you today. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel, click on my pretty little face just down here in the bottom right hand corner of the screen. Hit the little bell, get notification whenever I do anything else crazy like this. And if you'd like to go and have a look at my channel and look at all the other things I've been doing over the years, there'll be an icon right here at the end of this video. Click on that, take it to my channel. Over 100 videos to choose from. I've done a bit of teaching of photography, making little wildlife documentaries, always practicing for me. It's what my channel's all about. Me practicing, looking towards the end, which I'm getting closer to make a wildlife documentary. So there's another reason to subscribe, brother. You can follow me and watch how I improve and get better skilled at speaking to the camera and all those sort of things. I think I've said enough for today. If you don't do, you don't get. So get out there and start photographing and filming wildlife. And I'll catch you on the next one. See ya. Even more than not that more of a story than I am. Telling you more. And if you hit the little bell, you'll get notification. Notification. Well, that's all I've got for you today. If you'd like to. Shouldn't say that.